how to work with brushes in Photoshop. For now, let's create a new layer and press B on your keyboard, or come here and right click and pick up the brush tool. For increasing the brush size, just right click and increase the size of the brush so you can see the size. You can increase it a bit more and just leave the hardness on 0, maybe a bit more. Now press enter, so it's going away. Now just one click. With one click you see something. You see it's like a featherish look. Why? Because the hardness was on 0. Now let's come over here, right click and put the hardness on 100%. Again enter and just one click. Now see, this is the difference between hardness on 100% and hardness on 0. We have a bit of feather here, so it doesn't have sharp edges like this. So how to work with brushes? I can just come here and go around, but you see it's a bit jaggy. It's not really connected. It's not like a line. And if I click here, hold down shift and click here, still it's not a straight line. If I come here and go to window and looking for brush setting, just click on brush tip shape. The spacing is 20%. Now put the spacing on 0. Now if I go around and just let me just click this off, create another layer, turn that off, one click here, hold down shift, another click. Now you see a straight line because there is no spacing. We have two options here, opacity 100% and full 100%. Bring down the opacity. You see now it's a bit low opacity. Command Control Z to going back, or you can come to edit, undo brushes, redo brush tool. It's always here. Command Control Z, Shift Control Z for redo. I want to make my brush size a bit larger or smaller. Use your bracket key, the right bracket key, make the brush size larger, the left bracket key, make the brush size smaller. Or if I hold down Alt and right click with my mouse on Windows and drag to the right and left, I can make my brush size larger and smaller. If I drag up, I make the hardness 0. If I drag down, I make the hardness 100%. For Mac, you have to use Option and Command and drag it up and down and left and right. Again, right click here and I want to make this a bit larger, maybe something like this, and just drag this down, so maybe this larger so I can see 2 row. Again, one more time, right click here so I can see more brushes. If I click on soft round brush, I'm going to have something like this. Right click again. If I click on hard round brush, I'm going to have something like this. Now this is the basic of painting in brush settings. Now let's come here to this color palette, and at the corner I have the color here. If you don't have it, go to window and click on color. Then come to this little corner, the hamburger, and click on it and put it on color wheel. The cool thing about it is I can pick my color, maybe this red, and see I'm looking for this kind of color. And let's turn this off, click another layer, and let's see I'm going to paint something, and this is cool. And I can drag it down and again go over this, and again this down, I'm going over this, and I'm painting, I'm building up. Now turn it off, click another layer, Alt right click, drag to the left, and hardness I'm just gonna drag it up to make it more 0. So most of the time, instead of using the mouse, I am using the tablet, the Wacom tablet, for painting. So what's the difference between using the mouse and using your Wacom tablet? If I use the Wacom tablet, and now I'm holding my Wacom tablet and I'm just gonna right click with it, I have an extra option right now. It's called soft round pressure size. If I click it, so it means if I make my brushes a bit larger, it means as I press, now I'm pressing very slow, now I press very hard. See the difference? Again, slow, hard. So based on my pressure, I get what I want. Maybe I want to draw a hair, so I make my brush smaller. Now I pick a color, for example here, maybe this kind of color, black, make it very small, and now I am drawing eyebrows, for example. This is something that we cannot do with the mouse. It's very hard to do it. We don't have this kind of effect actually, because at the beginning it's very small, and at the end also is very small to look. But if I hold my mouse, it's gonna be like this. If I use the same thing, look, the control that you have with your Wacom tablet is amazing. And that's why if you want to be a painter or digital artist, you have to use a Wacom tablet. You have to invest on a Wacom tablet. Now let's turn it off, click another layer. Let's make this a bit, maybe a bit reddish, or maybe a bit bluish. Now put the opacity on 50%. Put the mode on multiply, and let's drag from left to right. And this is too shallow, and right click and put the hardness around maybe 50%. Press enter, left to right, up to bottom, here, here, and just take a look. At the center with the multiply, we are adding to it, we are building up, and this is getting darker and darker. If I change the mode to lighten, see what happened. See, I'm adding lighten to my image, and the center is getting more lighten. We have a lot of control with brush settings that if we learn the modes, and if we know how to use overlays, screen, color dodge, there is a lot of things that we can do with it, and there is a lot of cool features that in the future we are going to learn. Alright, in the next lesson we go for brush presets and brush settings.